I'll introduce into the House in the first week of sittings the Albanese Government's Climate Change Bill. We've been crystal clear in opposition and in government. We regard enshrining the nation's emissions reduction targets in legislation as best practice. It helps provide policy certainty and stability for the investor community that they so desperately crave. And today I'm announcing the shape of the Albanese Government's Climate Change Bill. It will be simple yet powerful. The bill will have essentially 4 elements. Firstly, we'll seek to enshrine in law our nationally determined contribution of 43% emissions reduction by 2030 and net zero emissions by 2050. Secondly, we will explicitly task in law the Climate Change Authority to assess and publish progress against these targets and advise government on future targets, including the 2035 target. Thirdly, we will legislate a requirement for the Minister for Climate Change to report annually to Parliament on progress in meeting our targets. I see this report as frankly being similar to the Closing the Gap report, forcing the government to be transparent about progress and plans and, frankly, obliging the opposition of the day to share its views and plans as well, to focus the mind of parliamentarians on what the nation is doing to deal with this, our most pressing challenge. And finally, as part of the consequential legislation, we'll insert the nation's targets in the objectives and functions of a range of government agencies, including ARENA, CFC, Infrastructure Australia and the NAIF. That is what we'll put to Parliament. Now, I say publicly and transparently what I've also indicated privately to members of the crossbench. If they have ideas, suggestions, amendments which are complementary to the government's agenda, which are sensible additions to our plan, then I'm happy to consider them in good faith. I say this in the spirit of cooperation. If there's a good idea which improves, not undermines the bill, I'm happy to hear it and we'll work with it. But we won't be entertaining any amendments which are not consistent with our agenda and our mandate. And just as we've been crystal clear that we regard legislation as being best practice, we've also been clear that the legislation is not required. And if the Parliament doesn't wish to pass it, we'll simply get on with the job, as we've already started to do.